Chuck Todd is NBC's political director and moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, good morning. I want to come back to the U.S. Attorney's dismissal in just a moment, but let's begin in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the rally last night. There was a lot there. The president spent 11 minutes talking about that infamous ramp at West Point. He proved to the cheering crowd that he could drink a glass of water with one hand. He went after Joe Biden. He went after AOC. He went after Democrats and protesters. But that was supposed to be sort of the launch of his 2020 re-election campaign. Can you sift through everything we saw last night and find the campaign message? What is President Trump running on?
No, this has been a problem, Willie, and even some of his own advisors and those on the campaign have acknowledged that they haven't essentially put together, okay, what does a second term look like? Only in the last week have some staffers in the White House started to put together a policy agenda for what a second term might look like. He has not really figured that out beyond, I built the, hey, remember the great economy, I'll build it again. And I think ultimately it's about the only sort of forward-looking message he has. Everything else is grievance, right? Everything else in some ways, it's almost a bit of, it's 2015 and 2016 Trump, just with updated lines and updated characters, but it's the same sort of grievance, like attempts through, grievance like shots at various political opponents, the press, culture wars. In some ways, it's the same shtick. And you have to ask yourself, is it actually starting to wear thin if you look at the evidence of whether it's turnout at the rally itself or his poll numbers?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. And you can see that the cheers against Joe Biden are not remotely like they were against Hillary Clinton. He doesn't inspire the same kind of disdain, I think, in 2020 as she did for Republicans and his supporters in 2016. Let's go back to the U.S. Attorney Geoffrey Berman. He was a Donald Trump supporter, by the way, put in that job by this Attorney General, by this Justice Department, and now dismissed. Is this as plain and simple as it seems from the outside, Chuck, that Geoffrey Berman was looking into people and looking into cases around the president, including Rudy Giuliani, and the Attorney General William Barr and the President of the United States said he's got to go?
Look, Willie, it fits a pattern, right? That it seems as if when there is somebody investigating something the president doesn't like or one of his allies doesn't like, that person is suddenly out of a job, whether they're an inspector general, whether they're another member at the Justice Department, acting U.S. attorney in D.C., or what we're seeing in New York. So there is a pattern here. And frankly, you could argue they don't get the benefit of the doubt. And certainly Congress isn't giving this administration the benefit of the doubt, not just the Democrats, but even some Republicans. You've had growing frustration over all these firings of these inspectors generals, which have taken place over the last 3 months. Now this, they may try to say this is nothing more than the president trying to do a favor for a golfing buddy. But if you look at it through the larger lens of what we've seen over the last 3 months, it looks like it's a pattern here of, boy, there's somebody close to the president is under an investigation, in this case Rudy Giuliani, and the person doing the investigating is suddenly retired.
Plenty to discuss, as always, for you this morning. Chuck, thank you very much. We will look for more this morning on Meet the Press when Chuck is joined by Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff to talk about the firing of the U.S. Attorney and the partisan divide over coronavirus.